Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy CV with another reaction video. This one is going to be Geography Now on New Zealand. We did Geography Now on Australia, and we also did one on Sweden. So my goal is, whenever I do a Geography Now of that country, I want to learn a little bit of that country, their music, comedy, TV shows, food, that kind of thing. And so we are going to New Zealand. And what do I know about New Zealand so far? I know All Blacks. I haven't watched anything on the women All Blacks, but the men All Blacks are amazing. What else do I know? Stan Walker. He is a treasure. He got to be a treasure from New Zealand because Stan is the man. But anyways, this is Geography Now on New Zealand. Let's get this to 50 likes if we can. Appreciate you guys, man. Let's do it. I'm ready. All right, let's do it.
Now, when I think of New Zealand, really only one word seems to come to mind. Tau matawhakatangi hanga ko au au o tamatea tsuri pu ka piki maunga horo nuku pokai whenua kita na tahu.
What? Is that a joke? What? That's one word? I heard him say mother F, and I heard him say hak twa. Some of you guys probably wouldn't get that joke, but yeah. Okay, I don't know what that is. But
now, when I think of New Zealand, really only one word seems to come to mind. Tau matawhakatangi hanga ko au au o tamatea tsuri pu ka piki maunga horo nuku pokai whenua kita na tahu.
No.
It's time to learn geography.
Is that a
Everyone, I'm your
town?
host Barbs. New Zealand is one of those places where a few people have made a powerful image for themselves. It's one of the last places on Earth to be discovered and inhabited by humans. And when they arrived, It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Mostly because there were these massive 12 feet tall bird monsters. We'll get into that in a bit. But first,
Is that an ostrich? Big ass
New
ostrich.
Zealand is not only a key player in the ocean nations, but a geographic anomaly. As in, half the time when you look at artwork or decorations or newscasts or even educational books, New Zealand is forgotten from the map. Kiwis even joke about it. Even their government website 404 page not found website.
Come on, where's the love for New Zealand? I don't like that.
Pokes fun at it. Anyway, New Zealand, or AOTEAROA, is located in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, about 1,200 miles or 2,000 kilometers off the coast of Australia, and about 600 miles or 1,000 kilometers from the nearest major islands of Fiji, Tonga, and New Caledonia, meaning technically France is their closest neighbor. The country is made up of two main large islands, aptly named the North Island, or Te Ika a Maui, which makes up about 42% of the landmass, yet holds
Te Ika a Maui. Te Ika a Maui.
about 3/4 of the population, and the larger yet less populated South Island, or Te Waiponamu, at about 56% of the landmass. The remaining 2-ish% of the landmass is made up of hundreds of interior and outlying islands, 33 main ones that are either around the main two islands, like the largest one, Stewart Island, just south of South Island.
Bro, an island named Stewart? I don't know about that. You got to give it a better name. Stewart? Come on.
Then you have the outlying island chains, like the northernmost Kermadec Islands, the easternmost Chatham Islands, and the sub-Antarctic southernmost point, the Campbell Islands.
Never
the country
heard of
is a
these
unitary
places.
state divided into 16 councils, 11 regional councils, and 5 unitary regional councils.
Damn.
The Chatham Islands act as their own special territorial authority. The second largest city, Wellington, is the capital, the southernmost capital in the world. However, Auckland up north is the largest city, which holds about
Auckland and Wellington. 1/3 of the entire population.
a third of the entire population of the country, with the largest and busiest airport, Auckland International. Otherwise, Christchurch on South Island is the third largest city and holds the second busiest airport, Christchurch International. But wait, that's not all. The sovereignty claim extends even further, and then you get the 3 New Zealand realm territories and free association island nations. These are Tokelau, the Cook Islands, and Niue. Tokelau is considered a non-self-governing dependent territory. It also has a territorial dispute with American Samoa over Swains Island, whereas the Cook Islands and Niue are labeled as self-governing states in free.
Okay, hold on a second, man. This is a lot. I didn't think I was gonna have all this information here, like all these other islands, the Tokelau, and then Cook Islands. What is? This is a lot. Okay, it's got to relax and breathe. Okay.
association with New Zealand. Finally, you have the Ross Dependency, which is New Zealand's claim to Antarctica, which of course under the Antarctic Treaty does not actually fall under their sovereignty, but you know, a lot of people like to say they have something they can't. Whew, for a nation that doesn't even show up half the time on maps, there's a lot going on here.
But wait, if New Zealand is just an island in the middle of the Pacific, which continent is New Zealand a part of?
Ah, good question. That is a question that has kind of stumped cartographers for centuries. In the simplest sense, categorically, New Zealand is part of the broader region known as Oceania, which is basically just Australia plus everything else in Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. Technically, Australia and New Zealand together are called Australasia. However, it's weird because New Zealand doesn't lie on the same continental shelf as Australia.
Australasia? I've never heard of this in my life. Like, I know he's not making this up, right? Like, Australasia? Oh my God.
This has led to the consideration of New Zealand belonging to a newer subregion known as Zealandia, classified by some dude in the 90s as either a continental fragment or a microcontinent made up of a submerged continental crust shelf that expands all the way from New Caledonia to an empty spot in the ocean just south of the Campbell Islands. 93% of Zealandia is submerged, with New Zealand being the largest protruding segment. Either way, however you want to categorize it, New Zealand is kind of strange.
Wait, go back to the self-governing island thing. Do they belong to New Zealand, or are they full countries?
Good question. It's kind of like this. Okay, guys, look, the British just kind of put you under my jurisdiction, so I guess that means you're all New Zealand citizens, okay?
Yeah, but we all have our own languages and customs and want to write a constitution for ourselves with free association status. We're basically countries in our own right, but under your overarching sovereignty, I guess.
Like, your military can come in for defense, but otherwise we got everything else covered.
I mean, guys, I have less than 2,000 people on less than 5 square miles of land on 3 islands. I think I'll just become a dependent territory state.
All right, fair enough. 2 kind of countries with loose ties and 1 dependent territory country with stronger ties. Got it.
Plus, hey, I became the first completely solar-powered nation in the world.
Not exactly fully functional sovereign nation state by definition, but yeah, good for you. Some places of interest in New Zealand might include the world's steepest street at a gradient of 38 degrees.
Oh, hell no. I play football. If my ball rolls all the way, I'm just not going to go get it. No.
The National Museum, Auckland's Sky Tower, you can actually jump off of it. The Rotorua Geysers in traditional Maori Village, Rainbow's End and Splash Planet, the International Antarctic Center, Hobbiton, so many wine fields like the ones in Marsh Planet, the International Antarctic Center, Hobbiton.
It looks just like it from the movie. And you know what? I do have the VR. So please tell me a good place to visit in New Zealand, because I want to go there in VR. Since I can't go there now, I can get inside the VR. It's like I'm there. I'm telling you, man. Give me a good place to visit.
So many wine fields like the ones in Marlborough, 90 Mile Beach, which is actually only 56 miles, Waitomo Caves with glowworms, Frying Pan Lake, and the Meraki spherical boulders. And honestly, I could go on and on with all the natural wonders of this country, but that would take like 50 videos, and we gotta cram as much as we can in this one. Though. So let's just talk about all the natural stuff of New Zealand, shall we?
I like
that. New Zealand is an outdoors country, world-renowned for its mind-blowingly wonderful landscape displayed in a number of films and movies.
Fun fact, The Lord of the Rings gave them so much publicity and tourism money that they even have a Minister of the Rings in their parliament.
Oh, do they now?
You wrote the script for the episode, and I'm just reading off the teleprompter, so I figured you would know that.
I did. First of all, the country is located in the Ring of Fire on the convergence of the Pacific and Australian plates that creates the mountainous southern Alps of the southern island. Here you can find the tallest peak, Mount Cook or Aoraki, at over 12,000 feet or 3,700 meters, whereas across the Cook Strait...
Does Aoraki means just rock? That's what it sounds to me.
Tallest peak, Mount Cook or Aoraki, at over 12,000 feet or 3,700 meters, whereas across the Cook Strait, the smaller Kaweka Range can be found on the North Island. This, in return, makes the country subject to earthquakes and volcanic activity. There are about 83 known volcanoes of all types, and the largest active one... Earthquakes and volcanic activity. There are about 83 known volcanoes.
This might be crazy to some people, but to me it's not, because the island that I'm from Cape Verde. And the island that I'm from is called Fogo. And Fogo means hot, volcano. So essentially my island is basically an active volcano. And we just built around the volcano. So this is nothing to me. But the earthquake, yeah, I'm not sure about that, man.
of all types, and the largest active one being Ruapehu on North Island. Otherwise, you can see other volcanic wonders like the dormant Banks Peninsula on South Island and the eerily perfect circular Mount Taranaki on the west side of North Island. Just a skip away, you find the largest lake, Lake Taupo in the Taupo caldera, one of the largest supervolcanoes on Earth. From there, the lake is drained by the longest river of the country, the Waikato. Now, New Zealand is interesting because due to its shape, there is
I keep listening to these names, the tu, the ta, a ko, po. I don't know where that language comes from. Is it Hawaii, Philippines, Asian country? I don't know. But I'm hearing a lot of ako, po, ta, ko. You know what I mean? I'm trying to...
No part of the country that is more than about 80 miles or so from the ocean. The flatter valleys on the sides of the mountains are where most people live and produce crops and livestock. Skip a little further west and you get the least inhabited and difficult to access, but most breathtaking part of New Zealand, the Fjordland. Steep cliffs plunging into the Tasman Sea, with Milford Sound being the most popular spot and the only one accessible by road. New Zealand ranks as one of the top most landform diverse countries on Earth, having everything from alpine forests, glaciers, geothermal geysers. They even have a small desert in the middle of North Island, and on some of the coasts, you have tropical beaches with magnetic black sand containing magnetite. Seriously, I still have some. Check it out. This is from Piha Beach in North Island. Whoa, it sticks on. Now, the one thing about New Zealand that set it apart upon discovery is that other than 2 species of bat, the entire island had no mammals prior to human encounter. Now, this is usually the part where Noah comes in, but he had a scheduling conflict. They couldn't be here today, so therefore,
I swear to God, this Noah guy that works with these dudes, he's always like on vacation or he couldn't be there. What is going on with this Noah guy?
Some Min Random Hannah. Hannah, take it away.
The country is a bird haven with over 200 species, over half endemic to New Zealand. And the funny thing, many of which are flightless. It's like the flightless bird capital of the world. Species such as the kakapo, the world's only flightless nocturnal parrot, flightless bird capital of the world. Species...
That's a bird? Bro, that's a beaver and a bird mix. Kakapo. See the po. P-O, the po. I know I'm learning a little bit about the Philippines. I forgot the language. There's so many other language, but they say po as like in respect. So I'm seeing a lot of po and ka and ta, and that's why I was thinking more like, is it Asian countries? Is it Philippines? That language, like, hopefully we'll get to it. Let me just not ask the question yet.
Such as the kakapo, the world's only flightless nocturnal parrot, and they have more species of penguin than anywhere else on the planet. At one point, a long time ago, they used to have the moa, a 12-foot tall monster, until it was hunted by the native moray to extinction. Then you have the national animal, the famous kiwi, a flightless bird which comes in 5 forms on both islands. Known for their hair-like feathers, long beaks with nostrils, making them some of the only few bird species that can smell. Otherwise, with flying birds, you have the kia, the world's only alpine parrot. And if you see one, they are curious creatures, unafraid of humans, that love to chew on shiny objects or rubber.
Seriously, those guys tried to steal my stuff one time.
Outside of the bird world, you can find reptiles like the turatara, which has a 3rd parietal eye on the top of its head, or the giant weta, the heaviest insect on Earth. Ugh. Resource-wise, the country is known for its huge dairy farming and livestock industry. Jade or greenstone is a precious stone mined and sold here, as well often carved into jewelry or traditional Maori tools and ornament. Besides all that, though, much of the country makes money through tourism, specifically outdoor tourism, specifically Queensland on South Island. This place offers everything from skydiving, paragliding, and zorbing, which, by the way, the Kiwis invented. And speaking of Kiwi inventions, food! Kiwis are without a doubt seafood folk. Native species like gurnard, hoki, hake, hapuku, pawa, and crayfish are made into numerous dishes. Cooked, raw, smoked, steamed, battered, and fried with chips. I love fish. If that's not your thing, some non-fishy Kiwi dishes might include...
As a matter of fact, you might think I'm making this up. I actually made tuna and rice with salad on the side tonight for dinner. So I love fish. And you got to think about it. I come from an island. Fishing was our thing. Fishing and football. That's it. And having a good time. And music.
things like roast lamb, savory meat pies, hokey pokey ice cream, kiwi-style burger,
Hokey
manuka
pokey.
honey, kumara, LNP drink, pavlova cake, and one of the most traditional Maori dishes, hangi. And speaking of cultural tradition,
What did I say,
and one of the
hangi?
most
Hungy, underground oven. What? How? That is cool. What? I wanna try some hungy.
traditional Maori dishes, hangi. And speaking of cultural tradition, we go to...
Thank you, Hannah. Feel free to follow her on Instagram.
No problem.
Yeah, that's a thing now. Now, this is going to be the best part of the episode because the people of New Zealand, known as Kiwis, are the biggest treasure you'll find. First of all, the country has about 5 million people and often ranks as one of the top 3 Ease of Business Index countries in the world with the least corruption. At somewhere around 74%, the country is made up primarily of peoples of European descent, mostly of English, Scottish, and Irish ancestry. About 15% of the country is native Maori, 7% Pacific Islander, and the
Only 15 native Maori? I thought it would be more than that, man. Because I know a lot of people, when I did the Stan Walker video, a lot of people were saying, hey, man, what the government is doing here, we don't like it. The way they trying to get rid of the Maori ways. Like, they were against the government because they just, I don't want to say too much because I don't know too much, but a lot of people were saying the government just trying to erase their history, that type of thing. But I thought it was more than just 15% of the Maori. I thought it was way more than that. Wow. 3% of these countries like China, Korea, and Japan. Wow.
The rest are mostly Asian of various countries like China, Korea, and Japan. Yes, by the way, it's pronounced Maori, not Maori, Maori.
Say that again. What
Various
was it?
countries like
I don't
China,
want to say it
Korea,
wrong
and
either.
Japan. Yes, by the way, it's pronounced Maori, not Maori.
Maury. A lot of people's trying to help me how to pronounce it. Maury.
Maori. They use the New Zealand dollar as their currency, they use the Type I plug outlet, and they drive on the left side of the road. Now, we all know that English is the most widely spoken language in the country with a distinct Kiwi dialect. To outsiders, it sounds just like the Australian one, but they swear it's different. They have some distinct Kiwi words. Here's my Kiwi buddy Jared explaining.
Bro, it's a beaut. I'm off to the dairy. Is that us? Yeah, nah, it's a cracker, but it's ages and we're in the wops. Egg, you're taking the piss. It's close as. Chuck on your jandals and it'll be a piece of piss. Whatever then.
Sounds
I'll
like
let you stop
Australian.
barking me out. Stoked. Sweet as.
Nonetheless, there are
Oh,
actually
piss.
2 other official languages of New Zealand, Maori and New Zealand Sign Language, making New Zealand the first country to adopt signing as an official language, even though only half of 1% knows it. Now let's talk about culture and the whole Maori thing. The Maori traditionally come from about 100 or so iwi, or tribes or peoples, spread throughout both islands.
Iwi.
Most in the north part of the country, the largest being the Ngapuhi at
Oh my God. That is a lot of tribes, man. That is a lot of tribes.
over 100,000 people. Their culture is a huge integral factor that plays into what it means to be Kiwi. I mean, instead of hello, you'll often hear
Sorry, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Do you see these beautiful,
the Maori word kia ora as a greeting. Most
Kia
schools
ora.
teach the Maori language in elementary years, and there are immersion schools as well. In addition, they have a few television channels and radio stations that speak almost entirely in Maori. Today, the majority of native speakers are found in the
good.
North Island, most heavily concentrated in the Northland and Gisborne and Bay of Plenty
Kia ora.
regions. And speaking of Maori, we cannot do this episode without talking about the haka. Almost everyone on the island knows one form of the traditional war dance performed by
love it.
both men and women, known for its aggressive movements, loud chanting, and intimidating facial expressions. Very often it's performed at sporting events. The haka is not only used at games or as a means to intimidate, though. It can be used in a variety of situations, ranging
I've
from
seen it at
birthday
weddings.
parties, funerals, even weddings, where the
Yep.
people celebrate the union of two people happily, and everyone takes
I
part
love
in it,
it.
whether you are ethnically Maori or non-Maori. It's a tradition that really unites everyone on the island, regardless of race. Pretty cool, right? And now let's talk about tattoos. And actually, let's have another co-host do this. Let's see, which options do I have? Who can
I'm so fascinated by that culture, man. Like the food, the tattoos, the language, the haka, man. I don't know. It just speaks to my soul. Maybe because I'm from an island as well, and and these people are so proud of their culture and heritage, and considering there are only 15% of them on that island, And it's just like my island, right? Because we were colonized by the Portuguese. So it's the same thing for us. We're Africans, but Portuguese came by and did their thing, and that's why I'm very light-skinned. Come to Africa, light-skinned man. I don't want to say what they did to these women, and then next thing you know, you have light-skinned African like myself, right? So I don't know. I just connect with the Maori people, man. There's something about it, man.
I select, let's see, Hannah already did one. Why not Ken? All right, Ken, take it away.
You might occasionally come across someone with kirituhi, or skin art, or tamoko, which are face tattoos. There's so much information that goes into this, but basically, Maori tradition did not have a specific written script. Instead, they use a documented information and history through a series of wood carvings and tattoos. No two are alike, as each person's tattoos told a specific story of who they were. Generally, the left side is reserved for the father's lineage, and the right side the mother's. The patterns can describe everything from tribe, rank, work, expertise, athletic accomplishments, and so on. In other news, Kiwis are pretty athletic. You cannot talk about New Zealand without mentioning rugby. They are 3-time World Cup championship winners, and often when they don't win, they place in the top 3.
Thank you, Ken. Feel free to follow him on Instagram. And now it's time to talk about history. In the quickest way I can summarize it, Bird Island, no humans. Maori come in from Polynesia, maybe sometime around the 1200s. Maori
okay, so that's okay. That makes sense.
Island,
Maori,
no humans. Maori come in from Polynesia, maybe.
Okay. So they came from all over, right? From, like, you see Hawaii, Cook Islands, never heard of. Malaysian Islands. Okay, yeah. So the Philippines, Taiwan. So that's what I was thinking, man. Yeah, okay. All right, so that answers a lot of questions for me right there. Papa Nui? Papa Nui. Is that Papa Nui? I think I'm saying that right. Papa Nui. And then you got Samoa, Fiji. Okay. Wow. Like I just connect with the Maori people. I don't know, man. I can't explain it.
Sometime around the 1200s, Maori Pa settlements established, Moa bird is hunted to extinction, tribal battles for land, Abel Tasman becomes the first European to come in contact. They kind of forget about it until the British come in by like 100 years later. For a while, they just kind of traded with the Maori, intertribal wars with the new weapons that they acquired by the Europeans, missionaries, British colony, New Zealand wars, Treaty of Waitangi, controversy with mistranslation, self-government within the British Empire, women's suffrage, massive immigration wave, World War I, they play a role in Pacific warfare against German-occupied Samoa, World War II, they play a role again in the Pacific, but this time against the Japanese in Papua New Guinea, Statute of Westminster Adoption Act, Muldoon years, 1980 reforms, 1990s and early 2000s, business really starts to boom, earthquake in Christchurch. Some notable people from New Zealand or of Kiwi descent might include people like Hongihika, Honiheke, Te Puea Herangi, Maui Pomare, Potatau Te Ferofero, Ernest Rutherford, Kate Shepherd, Sir Apirana Ngata, Sir Edmund Hillary, Sir Peter Jackson, Jacinda R. Shepherd, Sir
Wait, did you just say Sir Peter Jackson? Really?
Apirana Ngata, Sir Edmund Hillary.
Edmund Hillary, and he's on the currency. Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Oh, okay. I've never heard of this. One of the first 2 people to receive. I never heard of this guy. I mean, Mount Everest is not an easy thing, bro.
Sir Peter Jackson, Jacinda Ardern, Russell Crowe, Jonah Lomu, Sir Colin Hillary, Sir Peter Jackson, Jacinda Ardern, Russell Crowe.
I thought he was Australian.
Jonah Lomu.
Hey, rest in peace, Jonah. This guy right here. I've done one video on this man, and the love and respect that this man receives, it's different, man, from any other athletes that I've seen, man. And this guy was a beast of a player, of a man, and just overall just loved. So rest in peace, Jonah.
Sir Colin Meads, Dame Fina Cooper, Flight of the Conchords, Bruce McLaren, Catherine Mansfield, Lord, and the meme page Dolan Dark, I was told.
And what about my boy? What about my boy Stan? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, quite a few cool Kiwis out there. Which brings us to our next segment, the Kiwi Crew. They're friends. The Friend Zone. All right, right, diplomatically speaking,
We
New
still
Zealand,
love
for lack
staying.
of a better term, is basically like Australia's Canada. They get along with nearly everyone, and unless if it's a rugby match, it's hard to harbor any animosity towards them. And even if it is a rugby match, it's like, okay, you
That's
guys
understandable.
can just do that haka thing again. First of all, as part of numerous international organizations, New Zealand has harnessed an international network of alliances since its inception. For one, South Africa, Argentina, Uruguay, and Chile have had close links as members of the Convention for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources. These 5 nations kind of act as like the southern gateways to Antarctica, and they hold a high level of responsibility when it comes to monitoring the South Seas. China has an interesting, kind of good, but kind of controversial relationship with New Zealand. Not only have Chinese immigrants been living in New Zealand since the 19th century, but in 2008, a bold move with a free trade agreement was established, and today they are the second largest import and export partner. The problem is the housing market. Many Chinese investors have bought out property in metropolitan areas that remain unused and empty for the purpose of real estate appreciation. This has left many Kiwis unable to live in the houses in their own country. This has frustrated many of them for a long time, leaving them to ask the government for reforms in foreign investment policy. As a former British colony, they've always been closely linked to the UK, and UK citizens, often Scottish, choose to migrate and live in New Zealand. Problem is distance. New Zealand is one of the furthest members in the Commonwealth from the UK, and over time the UK relations waned as the UK paid more attention to the EU. Nonetheless, they've grown up, don't need to hold mommy's hand anymore, and they can handle their own affairs. Then we get to the quadfecta, the USA, Canada, and Australia. There is somewhat of an unspoken, unbreakable bond between these 4. New Zealand has fought alongside the US in almost every major global event from the 20th century and on. There was a slight hiccup in the ANZUS Security Treaty in the 80s in which they decided to initiate a nuclear-free zone in their territory.
So he says it's an unspoken relationship. So it's like, hey, do you know Jonathan? Jonathan, which one? The one that played football a couple years ago with you? Oh, Jonathan, yeah, he's cool. Like, we never went to a party, but like, you could tell he's a cool guy. It's that kind of relationship, you know what I mean?
Territorial waters. Nonetheless, relations are still strong and they are considered one of the closest allies. Canada and New Zealand are very close though. They both think very similarly and are both Commonwealth nations with the same queen as their technical head of state. Both share similar views on a variety of issues. Both are the smaller versions of a bigger neighbor that gets all the attention. Business, trade, and tourism is strong between them, and in a way they kind of love each other for all these reasons. When it comes to their best friend, however, as much as they love to poke fun, mock, ridicule, and spit on each other, they cannot deny that Australia is the closest. Australia even has a clause in its constitution that allows New Zealand to become a part of their country if they should ever want to for whatever reason. Although New Zealand is like, thanks, but no. Australia is not only the largest trading and business partner, but also has the closest history and culture. The two have a unique Trans-Tasman agreement that states that citizens of each country can migrate and have automatic residency. The two go hand in hand, however, when Australia isn't looking, Canada kind of slips in and they kind of go off on secret dates. In conclusion, as humanity's last major expedition, you can imagine how the first settlers must have felt when they approached on this unknown world of glaciers, volcanoes, glowing caves, geysers, and giant 12-foot tall bird monsters. You don't need Lord of the Rings. New Zealand already is a real-life fantasy. Stay tuned. Nicaragua is coming up next.
I mean, I like that, man, but yeah, I don't know what it is, man. The More people just speaks to me, like I said before. You know, we've been, like I told you guys in the beginning, I've listened to Stan Walker. I know about the All Blacks. I just haven't really watched anything on the women, but I'm sure they're probably as dominant as well in that sport. I think we'll do that, but I want to learn more about the food, especially because I love fish, right? I love all seafood, put it that way. I love fish. And the one that you can actually cook it in that hot water, it looked like, or river, whatever that was, I need that. I want to try that. So I want to learn about the food. More music, just other than Stan Walker. We did one rapper from New Zealand. I forgot his name. Oh my God, man. I'll try to put a picture somewhere over here of that video because it was an emotional, powerful video where the guy was just talking to his father, and it was a back and forth relationship, man. That was just so deep, and I think it's worth a listen. But yeah, so I want to know the military. I want to know about the food, more about the people, more stuff on the haka, man. I need it. I love that stuff, man. I'm telling you, the more people speak to me, I think it's because I come from an island as well, and I understand it. We have a volcano, man. It was active 1998, I believe it was, and it was tough, man. It was tough, but we still live there knowing that volcano's still active. You know what I mean? And we're just that type of people. We love each other. We love our culture. And I did hear a lot of people say that they had issue with the government, just based on how they're being treated as far as they're trying to get rid of the Moray people way. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know too much about it. I will look that up and learn some more now that we are here learning about New Zealand. And I want to learn about the people, where they migrated from. I know I saw a couple of places, but I want to just learn as much as I can, and then not just where everybody came from or migrated from, the language, everything, everything. We're in New Zealand now. So if you have things that you think I should learn about your country and things that you're proud of your country, put in the comment section below, man. I will get to it, and we'll watch it and we'll learn, man, and we'll spread the word. And, you know, like I said, there's something about the New Zealand people, the Moray. It just calls me. I can't explain it. I can't. It's some sort of energy, I guess, but it's hard to explain, man. It's hard to explain. But anyways, everybody out there, New Zealand, keep your head up. Love you guys as always. Till next time. Peace.